decides on it.
I'll do it this way, yeah. Now, when you go to Google, and type in Cesar Borgia,
I have taken a life.
right?
I've created a
When
son.
we go to Google and type in Cesar Borgia,
I am the son of Pope Alexander VI.
the image of this criminal comes up,
He who decides morals.
right? Now look, as you can see, all I did was type in,
Holy Mother Church,
as you can see here, Cesar Borgia into Google, and this criminal right here came up.
Institution.
I do not want to be Pope. I want to be a king. Emperor.
Now,
Why do you pretend that
I'm not being facetious when I say criminal. This is Cesar Borgia, the second son of Alexander VI, Pope of Rome.
I fear you're trying to extinguish a fire with
He was known as a poisoner, a triptych of poisoners. In a book, and look at this. And they put this guy up to be Christ, right? Now, they did a show on this guy, the Borgia family, right?
the fuck is that?
Here he is. The second son of Alexander the Sixth, Pope of Rome, an Edomite.
God speaks with our voice.
An Edomite. Now,
seeking what is best for him.
all of us know that Christ didn't look that way. But now, that leads us to other questions that need answers. If they would be so bold to lie on the Son of God, can we believe anything they tell us? So, and I need you all to answer these questions from your own vantage point. When I ask you on the radio show, when the radio calls are open, why didn't they tell us the truth? I need you to give me your opinion and answer of why you think. But let me tell you, I know why. Like I mentioned, the truth ends their world. The world is built on lies. And see, it's not to Cesar Borgia. It's not just Cesar Borgia, folks. We were told that Christopher Columbus discovered America, while the North American Indians were here already. That's what we were told. Right? Now, I'm not revealing anything you didn't know already, but America wanted us to believe that this guy was a Spaniard. But when you look into his family history, his genealogy, he links to, the synagogue of Satan, like the Bible says. Now, why am I bringing this out right now, brothers and sisters? Africa,
believers in
slave ships,
east of Nigeria on Friday attended
white image, Christopher Columbus.
The African tallest statue, weighing 8.5
Folks,
meters, was erected at St.
the world we live in, the reality of the world we live in, is one big lie.
Bishop of all Catholic Diocese, Most Reverend Augustine,
and the only way to untangle these lies is absolute truth. The Bible. That's why. Let me drop this on you all. Christopher Columbus.
Why do you wish to sail west? The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
Can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's worse?
2 minutes, and already you're a dead man.
For telling the truth?
Yes. We are burning people for less. The men you're about to confront.
Christopher Columbus. Now, usually I do things like this in the academy, but I'm going to just bring out a few sources, folks. As you can see, I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay? Hold up. I'm ready. I'm ready. All right? I'm going to put these to the side real quick. Christopher Columbus. See, I like to go into books that have historical references dating back to colonial years, when they were forming the lies, when they were creating the lies that would have the people deceived concerning God's people here. All right? Now, someone gifted me with this book. It's called Inventing the Flat Earth, and I'm going to go into Flat Earth also. As soon as I jump into the Academy Sunday, that's the first thing we're going to touch on, is that satanic ideology that all of a sudden appeared out of nowhere. It's not a new concept. Christopher Columbus. Now, why didn't they tell us the truth? Listen to this. On page 3 of this particular book, The Well-Rounded Planet, is the chapter. It tells us the European settler of 1,000 years ago also had many other strange beliefs besides witches and devils. Now, it's not strange to know that witches and devils exist, okay? He turned to these beliefs because he had no other way to explain the dangers of the unknown sea. He believed that a ship could sail out to sea just so far, but it fell off the edge of the sea. The people of Europe 1,000 years ago knew little about the world. A prestigious text for college students informed them that the fact that the earth is round was known to the ancient Greeks but lost in the Middle Ages. Literature follows suit. Joseph Chiari's play Christopher Columbus contains this dialogue. Columbus. This is what Christopher Columbus said. And a lot of this comes from his dialogues also. The earth is not flat, Father, it's round. The prior, don't say that. It's the truth. It's not a mill pond strewn with islands, it's a sphere. Don't say that, it's blasphemy. Now, let me show you how far the rabbit hole goes, brothers and sisters. Let me make it clear. The flat earth was just a misdirection. At a time to throw people off from who Christopher Columbus' real objectives for coming to the Americas. Now, when you read history and you see them come with flat earth again, you know it's another distraction or another misdirection. So that everyone will be arguing the shape of the earth. See, and the whole thing is, that's why I titled this, Why They Didn't Tell Us the Truth. Because even what we call absolute history, in their arguments concerning historical truths, are lies. There was never really an argument concerning the shape of the earth. I can go back into history that predates the colonial years, where all the Gentile nations knew that the earth was round.
In the mid-20th century, we began launching satellites into space that would help us determine the exact circumference of the Earth, 40,030 kilometers. But over 2,000 years earlier in ancient Greece, a man arrived at nearly that exact same figure by putting a stick in the ground. That man was Eratosthenes, a Greek mathematician and the head of the Library of Alexandria. Eratosthenes had heard that in Syene, a city to the south of Alexandria, no vertical shadows were cast at noon on the summer solstice. The sun was directly overhead. He wondered if this were also true in Alexandria, so on June 21st, he planted a stick vertically in the ground and waited to see if a shadow would be cast at noon. It turns out there was one, and it measured about 7 degrees. Now, if the sun's rays are coming in at the same angle at the same time of day, and a stick in Alexandria is casting a shadow while a stick in Syene is not, it must mean that the Earth's surface is curved. And Eratosthenes probably already knew that. The idea of a spherical Earth was floated by Pythagoras around 500 BC and validated by Aristotle a couple centuries later. If the Earth really was a sphere, Eratosthenes could use his observations to estimate the circumference of the entire planet. Since the difference in shadow length is 7 degrees between Alexandria and Syene, that means the two cities are 7 degrees apart on Earth's 360-degree surface. Eratosthenes hired a man to pace the distance between the two cities, and learned they were 5,000 stadia apart, which is about 800 kilometers. He could then use simple proportions to find the Earth's circumference. 7.2 degrees is 1/50th of 360 degrees, so 800 kilometers times 50 equals 40,000 kilometers. And just like that, a man 2,200 years ago found the circumference of the entire planet with just a stick and his brain.
That flat earth stuff started getting taught near the Middle Ages up until the time America was founded. But it was injected into history as a distraction. Why? Why is the question? Oh, where my other book at? What did they want people at that time? Why did they want those people at that time to to focus on the shape of the earth as the reason to why Columbus was sailing, and not the true reason royalty opened their coffers, their deep coffers, to send him here, to send him into these regions. They wanted people to argue, oh no, he's going out there to see if the world is flat or whether or not it's round, when that wasn't the objective. That wasn't the mission. Here you go. All right, let me show you here. A matter of fact, real quick. Let me turn it down just a little so you can see it. So you can see it. The Lost Tribes in the Promised Lands by Ronald Sanders. Lost Tribes in the Promised Land by Ronald Sanders. And what I'm going to do here, what I'll do, so that you brothers and sisters can't think I'm making this up, brighten it back up. So you brothers and sisters cannot think that I'm making these things up.
Hey everyone, so with the first two videos in this mini-series, I demonstrated that anyone can prove to themselves conclusively that the Earth is a sphere by looking at objects in the sky and thinking with their brains. Those objects were the moon and the stars. So for this one, let's get even simpler and talk about man-made objects in the sky. That's right, airplanes. Continuing with the theme of requiring precisely zero science to show that Flat Earth is the dumbest hoax on the entire internet, one thing that anyone can do to prove that the Earth is a sphere is to look at commercial airline flights. Let's revisit the Flat Earth map, or the thing they pretend isn't their map, but it totally is because they can't make a map, so they just use this. Embarrassingly for them, this is actually an azimuthal equidistant projection of the globe. That's right, the Flat Earth map is a map of the globe, taken from the perspective of looking down at the North Pole and flattening out its surface into a plane so that a three-dimensional surface can be shown in 2 dimensions. That's why everything is distorted with no consistent scale. Secretly, Flat Earth priests know what this is, and they know it doesn't work, but they're dumb and lazy and can't come up with anything better, so they stick with this and simply deflect anytime these facts are brought up. Now, the further away from the center you go, the more significant the distortion, so problems really arise in the southern hemisphere. That's where the flights come in. Here's South America. Here's Australia. Pretty far away, huh? If this map was taken to be precisely to scale, which it would be if the Earth was actually flat, then they're as far away as 2 places can get. Let's say we wanted to fly between Santiago and Sydney. If the Earth was flat, which way would we go? Well, the straight line path would go up across all of South America, all of North America, over Alaska, and then continuing all the way until we get to Sydney. So, do any airlines actually fly between these cities? Yes, they do. This airline flies between Santiago and Sydney 4 times a week. But which way do they go? Do they follow this straight line? Nope, they do the whole thing over the Pacific Ocean. Here's how that trip looks on a globe. It takes 14 hours and 15 minutes going west and 12 hours and 25 minutes going east. On a flat Earth, that route would look like this, an absurdly long and totally unnecessary arc. For comparison, how long does it take to fly between New York City and London? It's about 7 hours going east and about 8 hours going west. Now, you tell me, does it make sense that a plane would travel this enormous arc in less than twice the time that it would take to travel this teeny tiny one? Not even a little bit. First of all, the fact that these are arcs at all is totally nonsensical. Planes don't constantly turn slightly left or right. They lock into a flight path and go straight. Flat earthers like to whine about how planes don't constantly dip down to match the curvature of the Earth, but that's because they have no clue how planes work, since they maintain constant altitude and altitude conforms to the curvature of the Earth. So how do flat earthers deal with this information? Well, for the longest time, they simply denied that these southern hemisphere flights exist at all. The flights are a nail in the coffin for flat earth, so they would just lie and say there aren't any. But since anyone can find out that they definitely do exist in about 10 seconds of Googling, some of them have had to start coughing up explanations. The most popular of these is to pretend that the wind is responsible. Again, this is because flat earthers are lazy. Small differences in flight times going east versus west occur because planes fly with or against wind currents. So they just take this concept and bring it to an absurd conclusion. They will evoke currents of several hundred miles per hour, which would be a world record hurricane, and pretend that the plane is somehow traveling twice as fast as usual without anyone noticing. There are several problems here. First of all, this boost from the imaginary wind still isn't anywhere near enough. This arc is stupid long. The plane would have to be going several thousand miles per hour, and planes don't do that. Second, this flight goes both directions, east and west. How does the wind know which way the plane is going? Most days, there are planes going opposite directions simultaneously. Does each of them have a little personal tornado like in Wizard of Oz? Flat earthers have suggested things as stupid as personal domes, such that everyone gets their own set of stars, so sadly this wouldn't even be the dumbest thing they've ever said. But as you can see, there's no way around this. These flights exist. They are not traveling this insane distance because this is a projection of the globe without a consistent scale. The problem with the projection map they push as reality is that as we go towards the South Pole on a globe, the latitude lines are clearly getting shorter and shorter. But on this flat representation, they are being represented as longer and longer, so distances get more and more distorted the further outwards you go. That's why pretending this is a real map is stupid, and that's why flat earth priests pretend the southern hemisphere doesn't exist. It ruins everything for them. As for their whining that flights don't travel over Antarctica, well, there's no reason for them to do that. The shortest path, which we call a great circle, for any common route doesn't pass directly over Antarctica. Some get pretty close, like Johannesburg to Melbourne. If it were to be flown, Johannesburg to Christchurch would nick the edge of Antarctica, but this isn't a regular flight. Why? Because the latter isn't a major city, so not enough people would be interested in the flight so as to make the route profitable for an airline. In fact, there are very few large cities in the southern hemisphere in general. Because of the way the continents are distributed around the Earth, 90% of the human population lives in the northern hemisphere. But much to the dismay of flat earth priests, the southern hemisphere still exists, and its existence is single-handedly enough to make them cry like toddlers that found out the Easter Bunny isn't real.
Let me show you why they used flat earth as a misdirection. Let me show you. Let me show you here. Columbus. Let me tell you, folks, all of their history is a lie and misdirection. Let me get it here. Columbus. Now, what I did here for your convenience, I usually do this in the academy, brothers and sisters. I took a picture of the history of why Christopher Columbus came here, based on his own diaries, based on his own memoir or diary. I'm on page 79. Yeah, I'm on page 79. Yeah, this book is busted. You know what? It ain't going nowhere, even if I have to tape it up. You see, you look at this. Hold on. 1 second, don't go anywhere now. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Here, I am back. The devil is a liar. That's right. Don't go nowhere. You see how it happens, brothers and sisters, when I'm bringing something out? You see what happens? See, this book is busted, right? Don't go. The devil is a liar. That's why I'm fighting through tonight, folks.
Devil's got a cut like a slit in a cattle's cow. Dollar sign snakes. I'm holding the damn godless, fearless of the flood or the blood of the common spring.
Every time they try to attack and try to slow this word up, we're gonna bring it strong. Okay? And we're gonna bring it even harder than if they would have just left us alone. Okay? In the record, brothers and sisters.
The deadliest leaders in the world. Christopher Columbus killed a staggering 3 million indigenous people in the Americas. He brutalized locals and intentionally infected communities with smallpox so he could decimate their culture. Next up is the bloodthirsty conquistador responsible for the extinction of the Inca civilization, Francisco Pizarro. He led violent raids in Peru in the 1500s and killed 10 million people. At his worst, his men killed 5,000 Incans in a single hour. But the worst was King Leopold II of Belgium. He mutilated African communities in the Victorian era and is responsible for 15 million deaths. In 25 years, he killed and maimed 70% of the population of the Congo Free State. Follow and share for more strange facts.
And folks, let me tell you, this is I'm gonna show y'all why they really don't want to mess with what's going on back here real quick. Let me show you something. Okay? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Whatever they want, we got. Okay? Whatever they want, we have. The devil can't hide no more. Okay? The devil cannot hide. We got all his records. We have his records. And there's more, and there's more, and there's more. That way too. That way too. Okay? Matter of fact, let me grab this one also. Let me grab this one too. Yeah. Yeah. Let me show y'all how we do this. Let me show you how we do this, family. Right? Let me show you how we do this. Right? Let me show you how we do this. See, the devil is a liar. See, they can't say that we wrote these books, folks. So the whole deal is, the whole world knew who we were the whole time and lied to our people. They all knew. It was in their history books. I'm going to show you. Christopher Columbus didn't come to the Americas or near the Indies because he thought to prove the earth was round. That's stupid. Enter Columbus on page 79. Follow me. Follow me. It says right here. Matter of fact, let's start here. I'm going to start on page 78 and move it over to the page you're looking at. The sudden display of interest of Jewish matters is startling and weighs considerably in favor of the argument that Columbus was a new Christian. Right? And it goes down and say, along with the racial Christianity is an idea of revelation that places the mystical Esdras right at the center. He's talking about second Esdras in the Bible. It says, for the note is saying that the acceptance of the apocryphal Esdras as valid prophecy is what distinguishes the new Christians from the reprobate Jews, who reject him even though they regard the Old Testament Ezra as if repudiate the God of the prophets, and presumably the result will be the same. Listen to this clearly, folks. The rabbinical Jews of Spain, the note seems to imply, are to be the lost tribes of modern times. One wonders whether this note was written before or after the expulsion of the Jews in 1492. Now I'm gonna give y'all some history on the expulsion of the Jews in the 1400s. That's gonna blow y'all away too, because you wouldn't believe who was really getting expelled. Wink, wink. But meanwhile, the Apocrypha Ezra, now I'm on the page you're reading now, brothers and sisters. The Apocryphal Esdras, which was, by the way, a book of special importance to many new Christians. Hold up, now check it out now. Christianity today tells us to stay away from the Apocrypha. But during the time of Columbus, Christians were very concerned, or very interested, a better word, in the Apocrypha. It says, a book of special importance to many new Christians has a good deal to say about the original lost tribes. And this could not have passed lightly under Columbus's somewhat mystical gaze. Surely he was special. He saw special meanings in his own times and for himself in this passage. Now look at the passages that Christopher Columbus brought to Queen Isabella as his reason to prove that the lost tribes were in a different part of the earth, the West. They paid Christopher Columbus. His conquest had nothing to do with a flat earth. It had everything to do with finding the lost tribes over here, or at least charting a path so that the conquerors and the armies could follow his paths. Listen to this. In the middle of the page. But the warlike multitude is subdued by the man from the sea. And then another multitude, a peaceable one, comes to him. Right? If Columbus did indeed glimpse himself in the role of the man from the sea, then Ezra's identification of the peaceable multitude takes on special significance. Now listen to the scripture that he brought to the queen. 2nd Ezra 13:40 through 42. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasseh the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land, the New World. But they took this counsel amongst themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, the New World, that they might keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. What? Christopher Columbus, brothers and sisters, were reading the Apocrypha. 2nd Ezra 13:39 through 42. They were reading the Apocrypha. They were using our scrolls to find our lost brothers here in the Americas. They use every time you hear flat earth, it's a misdirection to have people look another way so that they could do what? Deceive, destroy, attack, and or enslave the children of Israel. It's a code word for them. The flat earth is a code word for them, folks. It's a code word. Now, why do they want people arguing flat earth? Because they know anyone who believes in it or don't believe in it isn't going to spend any resources or time going to the ends of the earth to verify whether or not their hypotheses are true. They know no one can prove it either way. Personally. But why do they bring the argument up in our current time? The same way they brought it up during the time of Christopher Columbus, to distract us, our people, at the same time, and by the same time, they're attacking us. It's a code word. That's what it is. And that's why I'm so glad I seen this book. A sister sent me this book, Inventing the Flat Earth. Very good book, and I got other records to prove that they always knew the earth was fair or round. But it's a code word to have the whole world looking at something that no one can prove while they are attacking, finding out the genetics, and are destroying the lost tribes of Israel. Oh yeah. Listen, I don't care if people believe it's flat, round, or triangle. Let's follow God's law on the earth. How about that? I'm not going to argue that because that's what they want people to do. It's ridiculous. Okay? You can believe it's in the shape of the number 8 if you would like. Just do good on it. Treat your fellow man right on it. Okay? Now,
yeah. Down record, man. You know we gotta do it for the people, man. But Luke 9:58 say that the foxes have holes and the birds have nests, but the children of the Most High have nowhere to lay their head. This ain't our home, you feel me? But we coming home, Father. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, check, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, look, as I research the artifact, ancient pyramid wall art is fact. Hebrews and servitude, cornrow hair, I'm like that look like Darian right there. Mugging with the stubble bed, then compared our women to what I read in Isaiah. Blinking eyes in the stress forth next. Father said as a curse, give them problems with their hair. I'm like yeah, plus he said they be turning against their man. Plus their man would have children, they would leave. Don't take a quip to see this, talking about me. Indeed, adhesiveness increased in the each of us. Need is a cease the beast in this feast of us. East is the procedure, region of believers throw prayers up, no heaving hope. So when you see the kingdom, bro, and we on thrones, do not disturb housekeepers, cause we are home. Yeah.
I'm coming home, it won't be long. Pick up the phone, tell them that I'm coming home. I'm coming home. I'm coming home, it won't be long. Pick up the phone, tell them that I'm coming home. I'm coming home.
Rain or sunny, what more than money, call them for me. Tell them I'm coming home.
This world ain't our home, we just spending the night stuck in a bad dream till we wake up, get things right. Heard we was born in a time, well it's no time left. Since we on borrowed time, racing trying to correct my steps.
They say them curses ain't nothing nice. Better break them else it's domino effects to the generations. Gotta choose life.
The grass greener on the other side. Live in the kingdom where you never die. No more darkness, only sunshine. Just endure, you'll be alright.
Lions, raise your cubs to be great kings. Lion is the same thing, some virtuous queens. Then they wonder how we do that there. Yelling Kwam Yasharala till the kingdom is here. Yeah, pack your bags cause we leaving out soon. Pick up the phone, tell Pops that his kid's coming home.
I'm coming home, it won't be long. Pick up the phone, tell them that I'm coming home. I'm coming home.
Pick up the phone, tell them that I'm coming home. I'm coming home.
Rain or sunny, you're more than money. Call them for me. Tell them I'm coming home. Coming home, won't be long. Pick up the phone, tell them that I'm coming home. Coming home.